Hi, Shepherd's Pie, greetings from the Philippines. Welcome back to the channel for another interview with my good friend Lachlan. Now, some of you chaps, I think he just grimaced and I pronounced his name wrong again, but I can't get it right.
No, it's my natural expression.
Some of you will know him from the channel. I interviewed Lachlan a while back, and the sound wasn't too good, so hopefully this one will be a little bit better. I'll put a link down through the bottom of the description in case anyone wants to watch that interview. Now, the reason I've got Lachlan back on again is I was very impressed with Lachlan when I first met him, in the sense that he has aspirations to move to Southeast Asia, potentially full time, in a few years' time when he's finished his working career. But rather than wait until that day came and come here blind, he decided to put boots on the ground and give the Philippines a try for 6 months. See how he fared, see how he liked it, see if it was for him. Now, 6 months on, I thought it'd be a good time to have another chat with him and see what he has decided. Whether the Philippines is for him, whether he hates the place and can't wait to get away, or whether he's still undecided, because I genuinely don't know what his long-term plans are. What I do know, though, is he has been very unlucky on the health front since he's been here. Don't ask this man for any lottery ticket numbers, because mind you, his luck might change, but he's been very unlucky on the health front. But he can tell you about that now. So, first of all, thanks for sitting down with Lachlan. It's much appreciated. What have you been up to since last we spoke?
Well, I've been back to Scotland twice. As you mentioned, I've had a few health issues, mostly of my own doing. I broke my toe the first time I was here, so I thought it prudent to go back to Scotland and get some treatment. I came out again and stayed for around 6 weeks. I had infected cockroach bites, so that wasn't the main factor I went back, but it was rather uncomfortable, so I planned to go around Luzon. However, it was the start of the wet season, and I thought I would come home again. On arrival to Scotland, I realised I'd made a massive mistake, and around maybe just over a month later, I came back, and I've been here again for around 6 weeks. But I'm here till October the 23rd, so I'm going to stick it out till then.
How is your health now?
My health, well, up until last week it was okay, but I got an attack of kidney stones, which was exceptionally painful. Thankfully, I'm on the mend, although I was rather uncomfortable in the early hours last night, but I've been given medication, so that's helping a lot.
Are you starting to think that the gods might be trying to tell you something about the Philippines, or are you remaining positive?
I think the gods are telling me more about my lifestyle rather than the Philippines. I don't smoke or drink alcohol, but I got into a bad habit of drinking carbonated drinks like Coke Zero and the likes. And whilst at home in Scotland, I tend to drink diluting juice and tea. Sounds very boring, but it's better for my health, I find, than the fizzy drinks. However, out in the Philippines, you don't really get the same choice as you would at home.
Okay. So the first time you came here, you went to Bali, wasn't it?
I went to Bali to see my son after being here for probably about 5 weeks, almost 6. I stayed in Bali for 4 days and realised it wasn't for me. It's young Aussies game, Bali. Although my son is Scottish, but he's of the age group in which he was the right generation to be there, and I felt I wasn't really for me.
So you felt a young man in Dumaguete and an old man in Bali.
In Bali, yes.
Yeah, you're probably quite a few years below the average demographic in Dumaguete for expats anyway. So you didn't like Bali, and you went back to Scotland after that because your toe You had a problem with a toe.
Well, I was given conflicting advice. The doctor in Dumaguete told me it was on the mend. When I got to Bali, the doctor there said it was infected. I had to get my toenail removed, which was more painful than breaking the toe in the first place. So anyway, on my return to Scotland, I was told it would just be a matter of time healing it. So I don't know if I told you, but I went from I arrived in Heathrow Airport and promptly lost my passport. So I had to wait. So
No, you didn't tell me.
I had to wait a few weeks before my new passport came in.
Okay.
So I lost the old European passport and got the new black British one. So
did you have the passport not turn up?
no, I just what happened was I travelled from the Philippines to the UK in my summer gear. I got changed in the toilets at Heathrow Airport, and with decanting my clothes, I took my passport out and must have left it.
You know, I get that, but it's not turned up. You think Heathrow someone handed it in?
Oh no, well,
it's being used for some illicit purpose now.
Even
the FBI's most wanted.
Well, as I found out, even if it's handed in, they have to destroy it for security purposes. So it wouldn't have mattered if somebody handed it in.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought they sent it back to the passport office.
I'm trying to look on the bright side in that I have 3 years left, so now I've got a new 10-year passport. So I'm trying to find the positives.
Half full.
Yeah.
So when you got back to Scotland, did you think, I'm quite happy here? Or
No.
did you think, God, I want to get back to the Philippines?
No, initially we had a couple of days decent weather, so I went out on the bike, but pretty soon it turned into Groundhog Day again, and the weather changed pretty quickly too. So I decided there and then I was going to come back, and it was just a matter of waiting till the passport came in. It only took a couple of weeks from applying, so it wasn't too long.
Okay, so you got back to Dumaguete, back in the same hotel, wasn't it?
I had previously stayed at the hotel I'm staying at the moment, but I was originally on at the end of the boulevard in the Seafront Hotel. But I've been given a discount where I'm staying. It's still, as far as if you're comparing it to Europe, it's a lot cheaper, but it still cuts into the budget.
Okay. How long did you stay the second time?
Second time was around 6 weeks. It wasn't just that. I had some personal issues with an ex-girlfriend that I was finding difficult to end the relationship with.
In the Philippines?
In the Philippines.
So tell us about this then.
Well, I had initially met a girl when I was out walking one evening. We got chatting and we seemed to get on fairly well, but it became apparent quite quickly we didn't really have very much in common. She spoke excellent English, was attractive. On the face of it, she would be a great partner for somebody that she had something in common with, but I tried to end it several times and she wasn't keen. She kept wanting to make it work. We went to Bohol together in Cebu, but unfortunately I got bad food poisoning in Bohol and ended up in bed for 3 days and was bedbound more or less. So that kind of put a bit of a dampener in things. When we got to Cebu, I was able to get out and about, but I wasn't in the best of form. And I really didn't like Cebu. So when we got back from Cebu to Dumaguete, I ended things. Now, the third time round, I bumped into it a couple of times, and we kind of agreed to be.
You went back because of the insect bites the second time, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
You got bitten by the cockroaches, that got infected.
Yeah.
You went back to Scotland. You had already ended it with her.
I'd ended it with her, yeah.
And then you came back, and then she started stalking you, presumably.
Basically, yeah. I didn't know was that I couldn't understand why. I mean, Dumaguete is quite a small place, But it's not that small that every time you turn round she's there, which was more or less what was happening. Um, I I don't know if it was paranoia or whatever, but I thought she put a tracker on my phone. So I did take it to one of the stores, and they couldn't really tell me one way or the other if she had or not. But they cleared.
Oh, you really did think she put a track on
Yeah,
the track?
oh yeah.
Oh, good God.
I mean, she was everywhere I turned up. It was bizarre. I mean, the last time was probably about a fortnight ago. I was in McDonald's downtown, and I was in the gym in the morning. I had something to eat, and I quite often I'll doze off after having a meal. So I woke up, I turned around, and there she was sitting at the table opposite. Now, she hadn't been in when I arrived at McDonald's, so I was sitting in front of the windows. So I can only assume that she saw me in the passing and came in, or if she had tracked me. But it was rather bizarre. I have met someone new, and on the night I met um, my camping partner, she managed to go on her Facebook page, leave some strange comments, put some photos up of us both, and said, "Why are you with my boyfriend?" Now, I can honestly say um, we'd been separated for, well, since the last time I was here. So getting into, it's like the Hotel California. You can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. It's very easy to meet ladies here, but rather difficult to go your separate ways if it's not working out.
How are you meeting these women? What?
Well, I haven't turned into Brad Pitt since I came off the plane. So the first one I met, I was walking down the boulevard, and I was aware that she was making eye contact with me quite often, because anytime I'd be in a certain space at the boulevard, she would appear. So just got chatting and started dating.
So she was basically following you,
She was kind of following me.
that didn't put up any red flags.
Well, there wasn't that many people up the boulevard that night. So it was more that if ever I sat on one of the benches, I'd look round and she was on the bench opposite. So I mean, she was young, she's attractive. So I thought, I'll go and say hello and see where it goes. Bearing in mind I didn't know she was going to be a stalker then. So the second time I was here, she turned up at Cafe Racer, uninvited. She saw me walk between the Go Hotel and Robinson's. Now, I didn't tell her I was coming, so she kind of broke my resolve the second time and dated again. The third time, I made it quite clear I wasn't interested, but it's I'm very aware. Now, this is not. I'm not being derogatory towards the Filipino ladies, but they do seem to see Westerners as maybe fair game, and will possibly put more effort into trying to make it work with a Westerner than they might do with a Filipino man. So I'm not sure, but I certainly would. If anybody wants to come here with the intention of meeting a lady, they certainly will, but meeting the right one is maybe a different matter.
And have you met the right one now?
I think so. I hope so, yes.
Because it's interesting. So how many girlfriends have you had since you've been here? How many days?
Well, I've only had 2 girlfriends, but I have. The second time I was here, the day before I was due to go home, I won't be specific in who it was, but a girl on a moped came and parked outside one of the coffee shops. Came up to approach me. She was selling things around the town, and we got chatting. And despite what I thought was quite an age difference, she asked if I wanted to go out. Now, this was in the first 5-10 minutes of chatting to her, So I explained that I was on my way home, that if I was to return, we could maybe meet up as friends and go for a coffee, which is what we did. Very nice person. I found out pretty quickly that we really didn't have anything in common. So I said, I'm happy to be friends. And her reply was, yes, we can be friends, best friends, girlfriend, boyfriend. And I said, well, no. I said, no, it's. So I used a line, it wasn't really true because I don't really have any opinions one way or the other on the age gap relationships, but I used that as an excuse. I said, I think I'm too old for you. And she said, oh, no, you're not. My last boyfriend was a 72-year-old American, but he wasn't old ship in the faithfulness departments. We'll
How,
put it that
how,
way.
how old was she?
She was 27, 28, something like that. She looked younger than she was.
Well, a lot of them do over here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because when we first met, I don't know if we spoke about it on the video, but I did talk to you afterwards. And you were telling me how you weren't interested in a woman over here, you wouldn't have a relationship, you would just, and I said, mate, that is impossible here. And 5 months later, 3 relationships later.
I was, well, two. I was rather sceptical about what you said, but it just seems to be. I mean, I was in the supermarket at Leith Plaza downstairs. I was there at the weekend, Sunday with myself, my current partner, and I left her to do the shopping. And there's a little coffee shop within the supermarket, and there was this woman. She would have been probably she was around mid-40s, and I was sitting at the table minding my own business, and I could see she was trying to make eye contact. So she eventually walked past me and said hello. So I reciprocated, spoke to her, and she was kind of going back and forth quite a lot, and I thought it was a bit odd. But anyway, she sat opposite me, and her opening line was, "Oh, you have a wife here, do you?" And I says, "Well, no, but my girlfriend's out doing her shopping." And she went, "Oh, I'm a single mother." So it was pretty obvious she was kind of looking for a foreigner to latch onto.
There you go. So we know each other. We've been out quite a few times socially. So I know some of these to be true, but just for the audience.
Yeah.
Would I be right in saying the first time you came to Dumaguete, you were not that impressed with the life kind of thing? The second time you enjoyed it a bit more. You've told me this time that you're liking it a lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more now.
A lot more.
So why are you liking it more now?
I think, and I'm not including you in this group, but I think certain YouTubers maybe oversell the place. They present themselves as being quite lonely figures in the West. Kind of. I think it's quite normal nowadays for middle-aged guys to be divorced and be put through the ringer and kind of wonder when their luck's going to change. So I've noticed that a lot of the American YouTubers, they can retire earlier than we can in the UK, around 62 on the state pension, but a lot are ex-military and can come over kind of mid-50s onwards. So there was a couple in particular that I know now to have oversold the place. On my own behalf, I didn't put enough effort in the first time I was here. I don't drink, although I do like the company of drinkers in the pub to a certain extent. I don't mind the coffee shops, but what I've found is you get two types. You get the expats that hang around the coffee shops and the expats that hang around the bars. The two don't really cross over very much. What I tend to do now is I'll jump on a service bus and maybe go out to Dowen, which is maybe about 16 miles away.
Yeah.
One of the neighbouring towns. It's got some nice kind of, so it's like a mixture between a resort and a bar, thin bar, and there's another little place called the Soba Bar rather, over the road. I'll go to Bacong, go to Valencia. So you really have to make an effort, you know. Just because you think you know somebody on YouTube, they've never met you before, and they're not going to be your friend when you come here, you know. So you've really to put yourself out there to meet people.
I hope you're not talking about me.
No, I'm not talking about you. No, no. Present company accepted.
Um,
I mean, if you make the effort with most YouTubers, they're quite friendly, but you have to kind of pick your moments rather than just approach them. It might be an idea to message them on Facebook or something like that.
he's a bit of a YouTube stalker. This one. He's trying to offend quite a few of us. I don't get jealous.
I'll need to change my aftershave.
So where would you put? I mean, you have been to, where else? You've been to? You've been to Luzon. You've been to Bohol.
I haven't been to. Well, I've only been to Luzon, and I flew into Manila, so I can't really say I've been to Luzon. I've been to Bohol, Alona Beach. Now it's very commercialised. Had I felt better, I would have enjoyed it far more. In fact, the first day I was there, we went on a tour to the Chocolate Hills, and went out in the evening, and it was quite pleasant. We're in a nice hotel, big swimming pool. The hotel was cheap, but everywhere else was quite expensive. Went from there to Cebu, which I don't think it would have mattered what manner of health I was in. I wouldn't have enjoyed Cebu very much. It was far too industrialised. The main places people seem to hang out were the shopping malls. I mean, you could stay at home and do it in your own country if you wanted that.
So, Dumaguete is your favourite place that you've been to, then?
I like Dumaguete. It's not everybody's cup of tea, I'm aware, but I've got to know my way around. I used to take tricycles everywhere, but now I tend to walk most places. What I like about walking around the town is there's so many hidden cafes and bars and restaurants that I've just discovered just by walking by.
You always find something new in Dumaguete.
Yeah.
So, what lessons would you say you've learned about the Philippines since you've been here?
I would advise people to give it some time. Don't rush in. There's enough to do if you put the effort in. It's an easy place to get bored if you don't educate yourself about what amenities the town has or the city has. Lessons, I don't know, it's just kind of, you have to take it, just turn up and see how you get on if you haven't been here before. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a place to come if you're just going by recommendations alone. You really need to be here, boots on the ground, to suss it out yourself.
And have you learned any lessons on the women front?
Yes, you have to be very firm with them. I thought, that sounds bad, but I thought I was being very honest with the first girl I was with, which I was. I didn't have it under any illusions. I said I was only going to be there short term. I tried to explain several times that I didn't think our personalities suited. I think that it's certainly easier to date over here than it is in the West. I prefer, might not go down well in the UK, but I prefer the women here. They're definitely more feminine. They might look for security, but they're certainly not gold diggers. If you have more chance of meeting a good one than a bad one, and I still say that it was a case that we weren't suited the first time round, rather than she was a bad person. We were just different personalities, and she would make somebody a good girlfriend if they were willing to, if they had enough in common.
What have your experiences been of the healthcare now? Because obviously you've had the cockroach bites, which I've never heard of. Obviously you've got the weight on your foot.
Yeah.
You've got the kidney stones now. So you've been to the hospitals and that a few times.
Yeah.
Positive experience, negative experience? Or?
As far as treatment goes, it's been pretty positive. You can forget about confidentiality. The Sullivan Hospital, I'm not sure about the other hospitals, but the waiting room is very small. Now, the waiting room will lead on to the consultation room. So you can have maybe 4 or 5 people in the waiting room whilst whichever patient gets consulted.
Whatever's you see in the consultation.
Yeah. So I'll never forget. It was when I broke my toe. It was only me and an American guy that were the only 2 Westerners in the waiting room. Bearing in mind the waiting room is very small. There was maybe 3 or 4 Filipinos there also. Now the receptionist asked the American, "Oh, why are you here?" And the American says, "Well, I'm here to see Doctor whoever it was." And she says, "Yes, but why are you here? What's wrong?" And the poor guy had to tell her that he was here for a vasectomy. Now, that's not something that you would necessarily want everybody hearing about, you know?
No, I hear you. That doesn't surprise me, to be honest. So what are your plans now? What are you going to do? I mean, you say you're in a relationship. Well, I'm not going to pry into that. She might watch the video. But you're definitely going to go back in 6 weeks? Or you might stay longer?
I'm going to go back in 6 weeks. October the 23rd. I've got my return tickets, my original return tickets. So I'm going to use them. My plan is to find work, hopefully quite quickly. I will save for 6 months to a year and come back and do something similar, maybe come back over for 6 months. I'll plan it out a lot better than I did originally, because my original plan was to come over here for 3 months, go back home and take short vacations around the UK. Didn't quite work out like that. So I cashed a couple of pensions in when I turned 55 in January, with the intention of taking 2 years out. But what I want to do now is try and build on my remaining savings when I go home, to make the Philippines a future.
So your plans are long term to come back to the Philippines?
Oh yeah. So I really like it. It feels more like home than home does, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That's interesting. So even though you've had a stalker issue, some incredibly unlucky health issues, none of it's put you off.
It hasn't put me off.
You're glad you came and you're coming back?
As far as I'm hoping the stalker stuff is by the wayside now. Health issues, by and large, were my own fault. Although I must admit, if you ever go to a gym, don't use the brass plates because there's no grip in them, the weights. So I should have adhered to a better diet as far as the kidney stones go. There's nothing I could do about the cockroach bites. I mean, they were massive.
Well, unfortunately, that's never happened to me. Well, I'm glad things worked out for you, Lachlan, because I'll be honest with you, the first time we met, I mean, I saw you a few times in that first month.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. I was amazed you'd come back. And then the second time, when you were coming back for the third time, I thought, I'm surprised didn't think you were enjoying it. But this time I've noticed when I see you out, you've got a smile, you've got your girlfriend with you, and I can see it has grown on you. When you come back, is it going to be to Dumaguete?
It will be to Dumaguete, yeah.
Is that because you're going to have an LDR in between, or if you weren't with her, would you still come back to Dumaguete?
Yes, I would. She's very keen to have a LDR. I'm quite happy too. She's a nice girl, somebody I'm very comfortable with. She's younger than me. She's 44.
That's less than 10 years. That's not bad.
But I really don't think it's anything to do with an age gap. I think it's we're more suited personality-wise.
Well, that's good. Well, I hope things work out for you, mate. I genuinely do. We've got our drills going on now. We've had
Right.
cicadas, we've had drills, we've had all sorts of noise issues. God, this is a noisy country. But anyway, hopefully it didn't spoil your enjoyment of the video. I'm going to end it now, though, with this construction work in the background. But thanks for sitting down with us, Lachlan. It's much appreciated. And it's been interesting to see your journey because, my God, you're persistent. You know, I think if I'd been you, the first trip would have been enough. But you persevered, as I persevered when I first came here, and you're reaping the rewards by the looks of it. And I'm very glad you are.
Yeah, it feels. I think you've got to be willing to put the yards in, but I enjoy it now, and it kind of feels like home,
Feels like
despite
home.
living in a hotel.
Nothing worthwhile as easy as my old grandma used to say. Well, thanks a lot, Ewan. Ewan? Good job. Thanks a lot, Lachlan.
Yeah, we'll see him tonight.
I've got the quiz on my mind now.
Yep.
I'll go home and do my questions. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, it would be fantastic if you did. But whether you do, whether you don't, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe. Be lucky.